Welcome to Lost Without Japan, a podcast based on Japan and your lost without moments. Go ahead and grab your favorite beverage, pull up a bar stool, and join your Nomikai friends as we get ready for today's episode of Good Times.
Welcome to our 8th episode of Good Times, where we catch up with each other, past guests, and talk about anything related to Japan and maybe not related to Japan. But go ahead, pull up a bar stool and join Maurice, David, and myself in Good Times. This episode of Good Times only has an audio version. We are continuing to roll into the holidays, and Mike's time to edit video and audio is limited, and I'm going to work at trying to get it in and get ahead of classes and life and things that are going on. But if you've already followed the show on Patreon, I want to say thank you. If you're like, hey, I have all of this excess money, heading into the new year, what can I do with it? Well, you can support the show and get a few extra perks, some stickers, and so on. So go ahead and check that link at the end of today's show notes if you'd like to support the show and check out our Patreon. But now with that out of the way, let's pull up our bar stool, like I said. Join the three amigos, David, Maurice, and myself in Hiroshima. Maurice is back again, and we're happy to have him back. Get
Thank you.
caught
Thank
up.
you.
Thank you, Maurice, man. David, thank you for joining me.
No problem, my pleasure.
I messaged them and I was like, hey, I didn't realize that it's my 100th episode, and that would have been the Monday prior episode to this one, which was the Adarashi Gakko concert audio that I had and shared. So this is episode 101 in like 3.5 years of doing this. And because it's 101st episode or 100th episode, all those different things, I'm going for maximum money, gentlemen. And I don't know about you, but one of the companies that has the most money in the US, at least, is Costco. So Costco, your Kirkland's Italian sparkling mineral water with carbonated added mineral content. Let's open that up so you can hear it. Oh yeah,
Ooh.
it's so good. Large corporation. Let me
You went really high dollar, man.
all out, baby. All out for this episode. It's got carbonation. There's bubbles floating up after you open this. That is highbrow. 16.9 fluid ounces. Come on. 500 milliliters. Come on, gentlemen. We can't get better than that. And this episode is actually going to come out. What is today? Little look behind the scenes here. The 14th. The 16th is Monday. 7 episodes after that. We're going to be right around the holidays, winter holidays, heading into the new year. So, gentlemen, let's just go ahead and, kick our episode off and kind of, say, welcome back, Maurice. Let's start with you. Good to have your voice joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And David, continuing to inch even closer to your vacation. So excited for you, my friend. How's it going?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, I'm super pumped. I don't think there's any words to describe how much I need this trip. And just super excited. So I think we are about 5 days off.
Oh man, that's exciting.
So since last time I've been was 2019. So
Oh
definitely
man,
it's gonna be like a different place. So yeah, can't wait.
I'm super pumped for you, man. That's gonna be a great trip.
Thank you very much. I'm just glad I'm going. So, but yeah, super excited.
I don't know
How long
about
is
you.
the flight from Australia to Japan?
I believe it's like an eight and let me just Google that. I
It's
believe it's 8.5 hours, but
Okay.
it's it's
I
cheating.
will.
That's what I want to say. Cheating.
Um,
It's not 14 and a half hours from the lovely
Right.
city of Chicago.
That flight is brutal, man.
all right, so
uh,
I lied a little bit. So it's just under 10 hours
Okay.
from Sydney
okay.
to Tokyo.
I mean, that's
So
still lengthy. That's still a chunk.
yeah, but that's just like a work day, really.
Mm.
So
Mm.
no, that's fine. I would even do like 20 hours if it ever come down to it. So
Determined.
oh
I
yeah,
think
better believe it.
I, th- I don't know about you, Maurice, but if I cross that 14 and a half hour threshold, I need to be put out. Like, I need someone to give me a shot. Like, knock my, out. And, like, whatever, let me not be cognizant for like 9 hours of it. And I apologize to the people that are not the aisle seat and have to fight their way through me. But I don't even want them nudging me or going past me to wake me up if I'm going to be crossing that.
You know what's weird? I've been on a few like longer flights. I think uh, one of them was to Japan, and it was maybe 15 hours. I don't know if it was headwinds or whatever, but at the like 13-hour mark, people started getting stir crazy, and they were like pacing around. Like
Yeah.
you could feel the people were like, "Get me off of this plane."
Yeah.
Um, it
Like,
was
yeah, you go into the restrooms, and the restrooms, you don't even want to go in them anymore. It's like, hey, man, I saw some 7-Elevens and gas stations back home that have better, bathrooms at this point,
Oh yeah,
oh
the
man.
bathroom after the trip. Oof.
Oh man. So my
Uh,
trick is whenever I'm gonna be on a long flight, I try to stop eating as much like the day before. So and I don't drink as many fluids
Hmm.
because the going back and forth and getting up and getting down, I can't stand it. Um and also I try to get window seats because I know that I'm gonna be sitting there.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't want someone to have to keep getting me up or having to move behind me or beside me. So I have a method. It doesn't always work, but man, those long flights are there's something else. But like David said, going to Japan is worth it. It's such a cool place that even if the flight can get kind of uncomfortable, you put up with it because once you land and you're in the country, you immediately forget about the flight. You don't even care anymore. You're like, I'm here. Let's do this.
David, do you have a preference on the plane? Because Maurice is wrong. But what's your preference, David?
Um, Look, as long as I'm not in the middle seat, I'm happy. And I
See,
think Maurice just gave out like a crucial flying tip is don't eat and drink too much because you don't want to be that person going to the bathroom back and forth
Hmm.
the whole time. So
well,
um, especially if like the only problem is like the window seat. Like if you don't know the people beside you, ugh, could you imagine like you just like excuse me, I need to go again. So look, window seat is definitely the way to go because the view is just amazing. Doesn't matter how many times you've been on a plane, it's always nice. But the aisle seat can be a hit and a miss because you do have the access to go to the toilet whenever you need, or even to stretch your legs whenever you like. But you do get bumped by the cart that comes by. Always
well,
happens to me. So
well, David is only half wrong. So if you're following along, today with the show, that would be Maurice in third, David in second, and me, myself, and I in the aisle seat in first place. So, so, um, but no, gentlemen, my son just got back from his trip. He was gone for 7 weeks. I'm going to do a interview with him, and I believe his episode should follow this one. Just talk to him about being 20 something years old, young 20s, and having successfully traveled to Japan, saved for Japan, came up with all the money himself, came up with his itinerary, navigated airports, and made it back in one piece. So that's going to be something cool to talk about. Um, just kind of like this, year in review, I guess you could say, but 3.5 years in review with this being like the 100 episodes. It's crazy. I was looking back, at the original, first couple of recording weeks where I'd have like, 15 people listening. And I think David was one of them, with that original, group of people. But, I'm really thankful for it to be sitting with you guys. And I truly can't wait. I was thinking today as I was getting prepared to grill some brats later on today, with, with them. It'd be cool to have all of you guys with me at one point in time doing that. So, David, I really would look forward to, grilling with you guys in Japan as one of those things that has come up when I've kind of reflected upon this last time. Would be such a fun thing to do. I think it's going to happen before I end up moving there. But it's the friendship with both you guys. I'm totally thankful for, and us being able to do these episodes, being on 8 episodes. That's kind of like 8 months of doing this, or something around that line. Uh, but heading into our winter holidays, things like that. Thankful for it. And my favorite winter holiday movie, I'm going to ask you guys too, putting you totally on the spot. We're gonna keep this ranking thing going for the rest of the episode. But I would say my favorite winter holiday movie is kind of a toss up between Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation and Elf. And I'd say that the
Mm.
movie we end up watching more often than not on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve is Chevy Chase's Christmas Vacation. How about you, Maurice? How about the 100 episodes? Us being able to be friends because you reached out because of your Kickstarter project. Um, Maybe some potential projects coming up. Your year in review, things like that. Look at that segue.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go, Maurice.
So I want to talk about. I'm going to piggyback on your Christmas movie thing. I don't watch a ton of Christmas movies. I don't know why, but
Same.
I guess I like A Christmas Story. But what person growing up in the '80s didn't like The Christmas Story, right? Um, uh, I was invited to go see Elf on the play for the very first time the other day, and I'd never seen the movie before. But the play was really cool. It was the auditorium was basically sold out. It was a bunch of kids. They were super into it. Um, I'm very curious now to see how similar the play and the movie are because I've never seen the Will Ferrell piece. So um, very very intrigued by that. But as far as my trip goes, it was awesome. It was about 20 days, I think. I got back. Oh gosh, I guess a little over a month ago, or a little less than a month ago. Um, I did shoot another project as a photo narrative piece. It is centered around this model that I met, who is also a classically trained ballerina, and so we shot for 4 days. Shot thousands of photos. We used an apartment of a friend of mine. Stephanie. We used her apartment.
Okay.
We used her boyfriend's motorcycle. He has this really sick motorcycle. We used a photo studio, a boutique hotel. We shot on the trains, uh, in train stations, all kind of places. I'm kind of putting the project together now. It's kind of a hodgepodge of a critique of marketing, modeling, social media, isolation, I guess post COVID kind of socializing. It's There's a lot there, and I'm super amped by about it. I posted about it on Instagram not too long ago, and I was super amped about how the visuals are coming out. But yeah, man, it was a wild trip. I also got food poisoning, but we can talk about that later. Um, but yeah, it was a really really cool trip.
Thank you, Maurice. It's good. I can't wait to see the project, my friend. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah, of course we're gonna promote it on the show. So that'll be good times had by all. Super excited for you for that. David,
Maurice, sorry.
go
Did
ahead,
you
go
have
ahead.
any yeah, didn't you have like samplers or something on your Instagram story, or was that something else a
Yeah,
while
I made
back?
a couple of stories on my Instagram, and I also made a couple of posts. They were linked to the same thing, so
Hmm.
all of those two most recent Instagram posts are from the project.
Oh,
And
very nice.
it's interesting because I'll say this briefly, is like I like to kind of keep my stuff under wraps,
Yep.
but with me working with so many people, it's tough for me to say, even though I paid everybody, like it's tough for me to say, by the way, none of you are going to see any of this for 9 months. So, um, uh, that was my way of kind of like, extending an olive branch where they could kind
Hmm.
of see like the product of their work, and they can use it for like either additional gigs or their portfolio. So I tagged them all in that. But typically
Oh, very
speaking,
nice.
I'm a guy that will just do it, not talk about it, disappear, and then people will see it when it's done. But you know,
Hmm.
th- with social media and stuff, and people wanting to see, or wanting proof of their work, I kind of had to bend my own little personal rules a little bit. But I'm happy that I did it, because
Hmm.
the posts are some of my best performing posts of my entire Instagram page. So I can't complain about that.
Well, I can say that we're in for a treat. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing it in the 9 months. So
Well, it may
should be
not be
nice.
9 months. We'll see.
Good
Yeah,
point.
hey, look,
who knows,
take as
who
long as
knows
you
when it'll
need.
come out?
We got the audio.
No, look, I think great stuff just takes as long as it needs to. So honestly, yeah, just take your time.
Well,
I
thank
reckon it's
you.
going to be wonderful. So yeah.
Hey, David, you being the earliest fan of the show, 100 episodes, your year in review, for both of you, you could even talk about, we can do some goals here before we tag off, like, New Year's things, besides my normal not make them. And I hold that one every year. But how about you, my friend? It's like, feels like yesterday. I know we were talking last episode. It might have been during the episode or before the episode about 3.5 years and all that good stuff. But you are the earliest fan of the show.
Did I ever tell you the story how I found the show?
I don't believe so, my friend.
Well, here we have another treat. So I was on Audible trying to find a lot of like books on Japan, because I'll generally listen to Audible if I'm working, like at my job. So because no one bothers me, I'm doing my own thing, put headphones in and just listen to a book. Yeah, so I was looking for books on Japan, and I come across they had a podcast section, and yeah, I found the podcast on Audible, and then from there I moved to I think Spotify. So yeah, and from there, rest is history.
Well, thank you, Audible.
Yeah, I know, right? It was such the most randomest like connection, if that makes sense, because well, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be here on the actual podcast itself. So as a guest, so yeah, it's crazy how like life works.
I like it.
Throws you different curveballs. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. It was lovely. So
Uh,
yeah.
if you're looking for an Audible recommendation, my friend, um, the Heretical Fishing, and it's like the Heretical Fishing, a cozy guide to, and it's by Haylock Jopson, but
Hmm.
it's another Australian. It's kind of cool because of verbiage and things that are used to it, but it's very funny. And if you're a enjoyer of anime, it's not totally anime-esque, but like there's some things and stuff that are in there. But if you're
Hmm.
looking to laugh and looking to enjoy, I've got about 14 hours left of the first book, and I've already used an Audible credit to get that second one. So I'm paying
Hmm.
you back, Audible, for bringing David. But it's like, but your trip and anything else that you want to talk about, my friend, besides just being super excited to go? Have you added anything or thought of some stuff that you want to do?
Um, well, we can go through like the itinerary again if you like. Um, but there is some like extra things uh, to it that I would like to. It's kind of like a checklist.
Okay.
So we can just backtrack a little bit and just go through the days and what we're going to do roughly. So, land in Tokyo for 2 nights. Go to Studio Ghibli. Getting the tickets of that was actually tricky. It was like 4.5 hours of like waiting time because there's a massive queue. But got them, happy. We just got them too. So anyway, so there for 2 nights. We're going to do some shopping for some extra winter clothes because it's summer here. So a lot of things we can't not in stock. We've got the main things like a big jacket and all that kind of stuff. But just for like extra pants and shirts, and we're just going to get there because why not? So do that on day 2. Let's go for a bit of a shop. So then from there we go to Nagano. We're going to see we're there for 2 nights. Going there for the snow monkeys and a bit of snowboarding. So anyway, from there we're going to go to Kobe. There for 2 nights. We're going to spend Christmas Day there, and apparently they have a light show, like Christmas lights, and but apparently, yeah. So they like have light displays all throughout Japan, but we found one that's at Kobe, so we're going to be there. And I haven't been there yet, so why not spend a couple of nights there? And from there we go to Osaka. There for 3 nights. We're going to do because last time I went there, I didn't really do much. Went to the Universal Studios, and that was pretty much it for Osaka. But we're going to go just do the normal touristy stuff there. See like the castle. What's that place called? That billboard.
I know the Gecko Man, or I thought like the
Yeah.
Glico, the running man. You know.
Yep.
the running man.
So I need to see that with my own eyes, and have the typical photo there. And the rest, we're just going to come up on the spot because look, you're in Japan, you can find and do anything in any time. And then from Osaka, we fly to Sapporo. We're going to be there for 4 nights. I'm going to spend New Year's Eve there and New Year's Day. Going to Otaru. It's like a little town next to it, to see if we can do some glass blowing.
Sweet, buddy.
Yeah, that's something that's. I think you mentioned it once, and I was like, "Damn, I need to do that." And it's always been a thing, like on my mind, that we wouldn't mind trying here in Australia, but if I can do it in Japan, even better. Then from so I don't really have much planned for Sapporo, but like I said before, there's going to be a lot of things to find. And also being New Year's Day, not sure if things are going to be open. We're just going to just roll with the punches. And then from there, fly back to Tokyo for 3 nights.
Be interested to see if you do that, wake up early and watch the first sunset, in Japan at your temple or whatever. And Sam said one of his favorite things to do or about Sapporo was the underground tunnels for parts to where you were able to navigate parts of the city without actually having to be up on top. And he found his favorite McDonald's in all of Japan down in that area as well. So I'll be intrigued to hear about all that, my friend. That sounds like an outstanding trip.
Oh, definitely have a picture with the McDonald's. I'll be like, I found it.
That sounds packed, man.
Say that again, sorry, Maurice.
It sounds packed. It sounds like you've got quite the itinerary. It sounds awesome.
Well, that's the funny thing is, that was meant to be like the non-packed version. Because we were like, we're going to, like, because last time we went there, we was just bombarded with things to do. We're going here, there, like, within a day, like, another, 8-hour trip to, Hiroshima from Tokyo. Or I think it was a little bit more or less. But yeah, I remember it was just long train rides, and a lot of like dragging your luggage like from place to place. But that's another thing too. I'm going to make use of the luggage transportation
Mm-hmm.
service. So I'm going to do a bit of googling to see exactly to make it a more smooth process when we get there. So, but yeah, definitely utilize that.
David, Sam said that when he was in Japan, one of his favorite apps was the Taxi app
Okay.
for Japan. So that might be worth you downloading
Mhm.
because being able to take that from like a train station to your hotel and not
Mm.
have to carry your bags with the conversion rate and stuff like that. He said a lot of his trips were around like 1,100 yen, which is like even less. Because of the conversion rates and stuff like that, could make
No,
some
wonderful.
less walking. And if you're sending your luggage ahead, maybe not, maybe you have, but
Mhm.
he said it worked just like Lyft and things here. He ran into a few hiccups, but he said it was fantastic, my friend. So
Is it cheaper than using Uber? Because I've
a hun-
used Uber.
yeah, it was cheaper than Uber.
Oh
Wow.
man.
How's that even possible? Wait, that's wonderful. And is it like well, I'm going to find out anyway. I'll definitely download the app when I'm there. Is it like as smooth as using it?
100%. Because it's
Wow.
like you just like you put where you're at and then you kind of move the cursor. There's some like fluctuation to it. It's not as exact as like Lyft or things that are here, but you can move it to where
Yep.
you're at. And then as the taxi person gets near, you're given a number that you have to say to them, like 54. And you go, you get in, they open the door, you say 54, and then you sit in, and you've already given where you want to go.
Mhm.
So it cuts out that having to communicate, where you want to go because it's already in that app and ready. And
Mhm.
some of the places he was at allowed him to pay through his phone for like his Apple Pay,
Mhm.
like, and then some of it he chose to pay by cash.
Oh,
So
wonderful. Oh, that's good.
you had that, and then some of them you even were able to pay by IC card.
Okay.
So there's tons of options for it, but he said like it was like some of the best experiences he's had in Japan. Because we've tried to do taxis before, and it's
Mhm.
always a struggle sometimes trying to communicate where you're looking to go. Being
Yep.
that I've minimal Japanese myself, but it was fantastic. So hope it's the same for you, my friend.
Mhm. I'm surprised, like taxis, like here in Australia, haven't really utilized the Uber-based type of, it's so odd. It baffles me because they have to kind of keep up with the competition, really.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Japan has kind of utilized the app-based type of thing, so and made it more easier on like on foreigners. Yeah, because I remember being there in like 2019, catching a cab was quite easy. I remember we did it about 4 or 5 times, and most of it was pretty good. Like, so I had a pleasant experience. But if you can even top that even further, perfect. Why not?
And I gotta say, like, for those of you that are listening that have never taken a taxi before, their trunks are enough for like Maurice, David, and I to fit in the back. Not comfortably, but like if they wanted to get rid of us, they could. So don't be worried. Like if you have a 70-liter travel backpack and some other luggage, chances are it's going to fit in there.
I was about to
And then
say, is that why the Yakuza use them?
it's
Like the
got to
rounds?
be, but like, I mean, you could select like larger ones too, like if you wanted a small, like the van type thing too, if you have more luggage that you're going through. But yeah, it's just all around seems like something that I'm going to be taking advantage of a lot going forward. So I look forward to that myself too, my friend. But yeah, just
Also, I got a checklist.
okay.
It's kind of like things that I want to find and do. So, all right. So, and there's a little bit of twist at the end. So,
Okay.
all right. So, number one, well, this is not really in any order, but we'll go with pachinko.
It's great.
Definitely want to try it. Second, baseball game. I reckon that'll be pretty cool. The next on the list would be an anime expedition. Oh,
Yeah. Expose.
What?
Yeah, that's like that.
Expose.
Convention.
Convention, yes. That would be perfect. I reckon that would be pretty cool. Not really too fussed on exactly whatever's hot at the time, I'm going. Go to a card shop, obviously for One Piece, because I do have a checklist of stuff that I do want to get. Go to the Cup Noodle Museum, and make my own cup noodle.
Hey, not to cut you off, buddy.
Yeah,
but if you have time, near the Cup of Noodle Museum is actually the Ramen Museum.
Ooh.
And the difference between the two is the Ramen Museum, you can totally skip the first floor, which is just like a little, pictures and history and stuff, and just go straight to the lower levels of it, because it's like 2 floors of stuff, and it's looks like 70s Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's buildings and things, but there's like a bajillion ramen shops from all over Japan that are in there, so you can try ramen from all over Japan, and you can get like sampler size things of it. And so you can actually hit a bunch of different ramen places from all over Japan without actually traveling all over to Japan to do so.
What city is this museum in?
That's Yokohama.
Okay.
Like that right outside Tokyo. It's literally like the cup of noodle place and that are like, relatively there. But that ramen place, Maurice, it's like you feel like you're in a Godzilla movie without Godzilla. It is fantastic, and it was one of my favorite things that I've done. And and I at some point in time, Sam and Addison and myself will all end up there together. But
I gotta check that out. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that folds into or goes into like the part 2 of this, but we'll continue. So the next part is to get to Yokohama, but that's pretty much cup noodle and Yokohama's one thing really. Next one is find a random vending machine. Could just be anything, and I will take pictures of this. So anyone listening, I will post these pictures on my Instagram and see if I complete the whole checklist. Also, mystery box. Doesn't really matter if it's from a shop or a vending machine. I just like mystery box, or I just like passive gambling. It's always nice. I really can't help myself. And it's a problem. Just kidding. Also too is try 5 different Japanese beers, and that could be trying like Asahi on tap, or just any beer that's around. So yeah, try 5 beers.
Are you, David? Sorry to keep on interrupting you as you're going through your list. But are you going to be in Kyoto, or is it just or are you just hitting Osaka?
I think, well, it's not on the plans, but I would say we do have a bit of time to just do like on the cusp, on the whim type of Kyoto trip.
When you're in, I'll have to send you a picture of a beer that I had in Kyoto. It was like a craft beer. It was a German style. So it's that Weizen, like, so it's a light beer, but I'll send you the picture. They may very well have it. I'm assuming in Osaka too. I mean, they're so close to each other. But I'll have to send you a picture of that, see if you find it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Send the picture over, and I will see if I can find it in Kyoto or Osaka. And the bonus thing is to find Japanese kitchen knives. That's one thing I definitely would say my kitchen needs is a good set of knives. And what a better place to buy it is in Japan.
Yeah. Like Osaka and Tokyo have great like streets to do that knife shopping, my friend. So like you're going to the right place to do it. So that's outstanding.
The only thing is, like, I'm a bit sketchy of having them in my bag, like knives. So I'm not sure if I'm just going to send them over
You could.
straight away.
My one buddy that when we went was able to actually ship them from the shop. And then when he wasn't able to ship it from the shop, he just used a shipping service just to
Mhm.
send it, so he didn't have to mess around at all.
Yeah, perfect. I think I'm more leaning towards to that approach. Because I don't want to lug them around and people question it, and I'm like, oh, I swear it's just for the kitchen. So anyway, part 2 of the things to do list is where I ask you and Maurice to give me 2 things to find or do in Japan,
Oof.
and that could be anything. And also, too, I would say we can put that in the show notes of what we have or
Oof.
find. So
For,
doesn't have to
Okay,
be
so
spoiled.
you're gonna go to Yokohama, right?
Yes.
Oh
Well,
gosh.
want to go, so
Okay.
it's definitely going to be a place to go because we do
Okay,
have about 5
I got
days.
one for you. I got one for you. In
All right.
Yokosuka, which is in Yokohama,
Uh-huh.
on Dobuita Street, there is a burger place that has these presidential burgers. So there's like an Obama burger, there's a Trump burger, there's a Biden burger. So
Wow.
if you find yourself in Yokosuka, you gotta go to this burger place, and I'll look it up and I'll find the actual name for it. But
Perfect.
Yokosuka is a weird place because it's near like a Navy base, like a U.S. base.
Mm-hmm.
So all the stores are strangely American because it caters to American soldiers. It's a
Clever.
really nutty place.
You know what? I will say when I do go to Yokohama, I will definitely venture off
Yes,
down there. So I'll do my
yes.
best.
All right, man.
It's on the list.
Awesome.
I have for both you and Maurice. If you guys end up in Hiroshima, you need to visit 31 Beer Stand, which is my buddy's new bar.
Okay.
That had the original Good Times, and you can let him know that Mike from Chicago, sent you his way. He converses by Google Translate, but it's never stopped us from having a good time being together and having some nice snack food and some good beverages while you're there.
Mhm.
So that'll be for both of you guys. David, I think for me is like when we were talking the previous episode is I would like you just to go to a mall and eat in a
mall,
food court,
yep.
buddy. At the mall, walk around, enjoy yourself, but hit a food court, enjoy looking at the families and stuff, having a good time. And just I'd be interested to see what you find as you're walking around. What is your, one of your non One Piece purchases? Like when you're doing your there may not be many.
Don't want
There may not be a budget allowed for it, but clothes, like or whatever it is. Because I would say that's one of my things that I have started thinking about is I'd like to start pulling some nice clothes for the trip that I can just use when I'm in Japan and just have some nice things when I'm there and just live in tatters when I'm not. So, it's all good stuff, buddy. That's outstanding, my man.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for the suggestions.
Go taxi app too, David.
Go taxi. All right, I'll write that
We gotta
down.
get our sponsor somehow. Come on, Go Taxi. Come on, Costco. I love it, gentlemen. Okay, my friend. So I have it, Maurice. I actually, I don't know if you have any recent movies, and I know you said you don't have a Christmas movie, but I had a winter movie
Mhm.
that was based in Japan, and I'm not sure if I sent that to you already. It was like an 80s Japan movie. Or if it was something that I, meant to send and stuff like that. But have you any movies and things like that you might want to add in, my friend, before we move into, kind of our Sora or just news articles in general and
Oh,
peacing out for
movies.
the night?
Oh no. You know, I'll be honest with you. When I was preparing for my trip, I just was not doing my movie watching. That being said, though, before I left, I did pick up an older movie. I want to say it's either from the late '70s or early '80s called The Typhoon Club.
Okay.
It's a Japanese film about these kids. So it's kind of like it feels almost like a Japanese Breakfast Club to a certain degree. And these kids are just stuck in the school as this typhoon is hitting it, and they're just coming of age kid stuff. It's very Japanese, but I would recommend anyone kind of looking up the trailer and seeing if it's something they're interested in. I know that some list there's on the back of the box. I wish I had it with me, but on the back of the case it says that this movie is regarded as like either like the 10th or the 12th best Japanese film ever made. So I don't know how I feel about that because I haven't seen a ton of Japanese cinema, but it's pretty dang good. So if anyone's interested, check out the trailer for the Typhoon Club and see if it might be something you're interested in.
A couple different things that reminds me, totally unrelated, ADD brain, but the 80s movie I was talking about, I can't say it's one of the best 12 movies. It's probably not even one of the best 12 movies of the 80s. But it's Take Me Out to the Snowland is the name of the movie. And if you're into 80s movies in general, this is that. And it is campy at times. And the whole story is based around a guy who is dull and could never get anyone to be interested in him in his normal life. But man, oh man, when he hits the slopes, he is, just, the man among men. So if you want to watch something that's just like campy and 80s and not serious, it was a good time for me. I would rent it, find it on YouTube, find a stream. It's not worth buying, but it is still worth it's still worth your time, if you enjoy movies like that. So that was my, finding fun movie, So, love it, gentlemen. Who wants to go and go first for sharing just something that they have found and brought in, be it Sora or just something that you're bringing in?
I will.
Otherwise,
I will
Maurice
jump right in
dibs. Go for it, buddy.
So here's this thing. I got an article about Burger King, and their huge burger, and so don't pay attention to what the actual article is about. It's like their 1 pound burger or whatever, but that's not what we're really here to talk about. If you look in the article, and I shared it in our group chat, if you look in the article and scroll down just a little bit, there is a little picture for the Ninniku garlic 1 pounder burger, right? But there's also a spicy version of that.
Ooh, that sounds good.
So hold that thought. So I'm thinking, I'm going to try this. I love spicy stuff. It messed me up. Gentlemen, it gave me food poisoning, but not because it was bad or rotten or foul. I just think it was because it was too spicy and too garlicky for me. The night prior to that, I tried raw horse for the first time. And the horse was excellent. Raw horse is excellent. I totally recommend people eat raw horse. If you're into that stuff and you're bold, eat the raw horse. You won't regret it. So when I was having my intestinal issues, I'm like, did the raw horse do this to me? And so I reached out to the woman who I had it with, and we ate off the same platter. And she was like, no, I'm fine. And so I'm like, damn it, it was the Burger King.
Darn you, Burger King.
So for 5 days, I had to stay close to my hotel.
Oh, that's horrible.
It was like every 20 minutes. It was like, all right.
It sounds worth it to me.
And so it got so bad it wouldn't subside because I guess my intestines were not used to that level of spice. There is an anti-diarrheal medicine called Stoppa. So I looked at this pharmacy that was right across the street from my hotel, and they opened at 9:00. I ran over there at 8:56, and I'm like, Ohayou gozaimasu. I said, "Doko ni wa Stoppa desu ka?"
On the clock, time out. 17 minutes to get back to my room.
Yeah.
They thought it was so funny that I was begging for this diarrhea medicine at 8:55 in the morning. That was so funny.
Oh
But
my
it works.
goodness.
So if anyone is out there and you're in Japan and you're having some issues, the medicine you need is Stoppa, and it works. It's great. It'll save you in a pinch, and you can actually go away from your hotel for more than 20 minutes at a time. Perfect.
So my next trip, and I might just eating something a bit dodgy. I'm gonna be like looking into the air, and I hear the voice "Stoppo," and I'm like, "Yes, problem solved." So
Hey, David, Maurice, both of you, David, I might add on to my things to ask you to do on your vacation, but have both of you eaten at Tori?
Torikizoku?
Yes, Tori
Yep.
Kizoku. Have you eaten there, David? It's a yakitori chain place. It's fantastic, and one of my favorite things to do in Japan. Ooh, I like the stoppu there. I said that could be like our show covers of. But have you eaten there, David?
say that again because you.
Oh, sorry. The Tori Toroki Soku, the yakitori chain restaurant. Maurice did a much better job of saying it, but it's this chain yakitori restaurant.
No, I have not.
Oh, dude, you and your significant other are gonna have to hit it. Just be prepared for a wait. You have to have a beer. You don't have to drink the beer, but it's like you order your food. You have to have the beer to start. But everything else after. It is one of my absolutely positively favorite things in the world to go do and eat way more than you should while you're doing it. And it is fantastic, my friend. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Can I talk about Toriki for a second?
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
All right, so I love Toriki. I love it. I go there every single time I'm in Japan. And so I was talking to Stephanie, and I'm like, oh, man, I can't wait to go to Toriki, you know? And she goes, why are you excited about Toriki? And I said, I love it. It's delicious. She goes, you know, that's basically McDonald's for Japan, right? And I said, what? She goes, no. She goes, Toriki is like McDonald's level, and you know, in comparison.
Yep.
And I'm like, how dare you? You know?
Well, because it's like like my son and I could be there, and we could pig out. I mean, David, you could pig out and be out like 37, 37, 100, what like the equivalent, like 37 US, like not even 37 US dollars.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. And
and that's multiple drinks and more food than you could shake a stick at. Oh my God.
You should ask Stephanie about Toriki. And then also I did some bumbling.
She's in fourth place with that right now. She doesn't even know she's in fourth place. She's in fourth place.
I did some bumbling and I did some Tinder while I was also there, and I went on a date with a woman from London.
Hell yeah.
And she was like, well, because she lives there, and she's like, well, what do you like to eat? And I said, I love Toriki, but a friend of mine says it's like McDonald's. And she goes, it is like McDonald's. So apparently everyone who lives there is not impressed by Toriki, but I don't care. I'm going to still keep going. And I have to reiterate what Mike said. David, it's delicious, and you can just pound it, and it's not at all. It's so good.
I will
I'll be
say,
the judge of that. I think I'll take you guys' words for it too. But
I will say though, don't do the rookie mistake, David, of ordering all that you're going to eat at once, because it will come out. They're quick. I mean, they are quick. But what you don't want is for it to all come out at once. So, like, order some things, and wait a bit, and then place another order. That way, things kind of like stagger your way through. Because I've had instances where I've ordered all at once and they've spaced it out, and they've done a nice job of doing that. But I've also had times where I've ordered a bunch and they just delivered it all at once, and you're sitting there trying to eat everything while it's hot, because there is a quality drop off when it begins to cool. At least in my opinion, for some of the stuff that I had. So fantastic! Brought to you by Toriki.
that could be also a sponsor.
also sponsor of the show. My article is going to be about Fami Chicky. The convenience store, Fried Chicken, goes into school lunches in Japan for Family Mart anniversary. And Fami Chicky is part of their public school meals on a special day. In the original hometown of Family Mart's original hometown the kids there are gonna have Fami Chicky as a part of their meal. That's amazing. Kind of like pretty cool. They have 16,000 branches, and started from a single shop. So while you can find like Family Marts all across Japan, in 1973 when they opened, there were only one, and it was in Sayama in the Saitama Prefecture. I really feel like if that Family Mart is still there, that's a pilgrimage I need to make. But that's
Agreed.
just, so cool that they're going to end up having that for that day, for one day, just some fried chicken as part of their school lunch. So, just fantastic. Love it.
I think they
All
should do the
great
whole
things
year,
are
if you
there.
ask me. But
But yeah, but it's going to be apparently they're giving this to 15 elementary schools, 8 junior high schools, and they're going to be providing, the Family Mart's going to be providing 10,500 pieces of Fami Chicky to the city and their lunch kitchen for this one special day meal, 70th anniversary celebration. So
That's
that is
awesome.
my article. That's amazing. That's good stuff.
very nice. So my article, this one's from 20 hours ago. It's the 800. Wait, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. It's the Painting of the World Studio Ghibli book. Personally, I'm not like a big super fan of Studio Ghibli, but I do very much appreciate kind of like the movies they release because it feels like they have more of like a how would you say it? A lot of values in it that you don't really see in like Western, like Disney or anything like that. So anyway, yeah, this one's pretty cool. So Pi International, a Tokyo-based publisher, is releasing a hard cover book that contains 844 paintings, like used as backgrounds in the Studio Ghibli movies. So you don't really see any like characters; you just see the backgrounds. That's stretching all the way from 1984's how would you say that? Nakasaka, of the Valley of the Winds, to 2023, The Boy and the Heron. And also features some of your favorites like My Neighbor Totoro, Spirit Away, and Howl's Moving Castle and Ponyo. So that should be pretty cool to see.
And thank you, David, for my 80, my just attention deficitness, for you giving this article, because I wanted to tell you, when you go to the Studio Ghibli Museum, my life hack of going to Studio Ghibli Museum, if you can, don't go just directly into the museum. I don't know what time you're getting into it at, like what time slot you were able to get, but if you can,
like 2 o'clock.
go 2 o'clock. Okay. It's like, if you can try to hit there's a cafe that I was not able to get into because the wait was so long and they weren't sure that I'd be able to get in. So they weren't even letting people wait. So if you can, go do the cafe first if you can, and sit down, have something that is themed from a Studio Ghibli movie, and then head into the actual Studio Ghibli Museum itself, because I mean it's very cool. I wish that you could take your phone out. Maybe if that has changed, let me know. But you couldn't take your phone out to use like Google Translate to see what things say. So I was in the museum area, I want to say, for like maybe about like 45 minutes, kind of like walking around, checking some things out, looking at pictures and going all to those different levels. But I wish that I had been able to hit that, the cafe outside. It looked amazing.
So that's like the first thing you see, like
Like you're let in, and it's like the main entrance that you get to
okay,
go to. But around the outside of it, kind of in the courtyard that's like you're let into,
Mhm.
there is this like cafe. And if you
Mhm.
can, my friend, I would go try to hit that, and then head on in. Depending on how late it's open and stuff. I don't want to cut you off, but
Yeah,
that I would totally, if I can live vicariously through you. That would be my recommendation to
I'll make
anybody
it my
that
mission
goes.
to
You know,
go to the cafe for sure.
unless
Um,
it's hours of wait, then you just pass. But
well, the
if you
good
can,
thing is, what we're there at 2, so just after lunch. So I'll definitely say we'll sit down like first thing too. We'll go to the cafe and have a look and order something there. I reckon that'd be nice. And that might get rid of the rush of people there because when they let, I think, groups of people in at a time. So hopefully they just go and do the standard stuff, and we'll just go straight there. What year were you in there? Like, because I know you've been to Japan multiple times.
I went in. It was 2017.
Sorry to
So
put you on the spot.
it's been, yeah. No, it's been a while. It was 2017 when I went, because when I
Hmm.
went with my buddies, we weren't able to get tickets when we went in
Okay.
2019. We were all on trying to get tickets. It just didn't work out. Like you saw
Yeah.
everything like closing before your eyes when you tried to click on anything. But 2017, so it's been a while.
Hmm.
So maybe things have changed there with the. I hope it has with the cell phone thing and the translation, or at least something audio that you could listen to as you walk through. So
Hmm.
it was cool. I mean, all the pictures of everything, like artwork and stuff like that. Just the inside of the museum was awesome. The upper rooftop of it was fantastic, but
Hmm.
I still regret all the way soon to be in 2025 not being able to hit that darn cafe.
All right, I'll do my best to make it happen. So
Well,
hopefully
thank
it's
you.
not packed.
Yeah. No, David, thank you so much, man, for hopping on. Being that you are just days away from heading on your trip,
No, thank
Maurice,
you for having me.
it is fantastic to have your voice join us again. I have definitely missed our hanging out time, so it's good to have you back, my friend.
Thank
Always,
you.
always.
Well,
um,
yeah, go ahead, man.
so yeah, well, since it's like about 5 days off, yeah, well, I'll let you know how we go on the holiday. So, and I'll definitely take a lot of photos and um, like bits and pieces, so anyone can go and have a look at my Instagram and be like, "Whoa, that's how that trip turned out." Who
Heck
knows? It
yeah,
might not
man.
consist of only half of the stuff that I mentioned, or even even I don't know. I'd say a couple more extra things. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's all mystery at this time.
I love it, buddy.
Awesome.
We're definitely excited for you, and
Thank you.
I don't know, listeners, when that will be, but when David is back and able to join us again, I think we'll do like because I'll be back at that point in time for my trip as well. David will have been, I will have been, Maurice will have been in the cooler months. I'll be intrigued to have us kind of talk about our experiences with cold Japan. So that's something to look forward to for all of you listening. And anything else before we head off, gentlemen? You've been fantastic, wonderful as always. All good, excellent. David, Maurice, thank you again for joining us. On behalf of Lost Without Japan and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining all of us today. We look forward to seeing you on board again for our next regularly scheduled episode as we continue our discussion on Japan, travel, culture, and your Lost Without moments. To everyone out there, and especially our Kirkland Sparkling Water, soon to be sponsor, oh, Ginky Day. Stay well, my friends.